if somebody is too high on cannabis or feeling anxious, or is there a way to how can they bring comfort to themselves, or how can others bring comfort to them? Are there other herbs that can support or kind of mindset?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you say that because first, going back to the edibles, is if you're not familiar with cannabis, don't start with edibles. They are so strong. I love cannabis. I've been smoking it for decades. I rarely eat edibles. And if I do, I'll get a 5 or a 10 milligram dose. And because really, depending on your digestion, you don't know how fast it's going to hit or if it's all going to hit at once or it's going to be slow release. So I really do suggest people smoking it because even if you feel like you got too high, it's that too high feeling's probably going to be gone after 20 or 30 minutes as opposed with an edible. It could go on for hours.
Why is that? Why does an edible last so much longer?
It's really absorbing into your fat. Right. Whereas the smoking, a lot of it's just it's going into your lungs. But this is actually going into your fat cells, which are what cannabinoids are attracted to. So I think it hits you like that. I also don't think the dosage is always correct. And then a lot of times with edibles too, you're using a distillate or an isolate, which is like 90% THC. Whereas if you're smoking flower, it might be like 20 or 25% THC. So I think it's just even though it's 20 milligrams, you're using a highly concentrated product to make the edibles, and it's not just like flour. Even though we've all been too high off the old school pot brownies too, you know?
This podcast is brought to you by B Micro, organic freeze-dried microgreens for easy, natural nutrition. Sprinkle them on any meal and enjoy the benefits. Shop now at bmicro.farm and use code STEVE15 to save.
So I would say start with smoking and take deep breaths. You know, it will pass. There's, like you said, other than feeling uncomfortable, just use your techniques for grounding and centering. You can have like a sugary lemonade. Agua limon is something they used to use in Persia, like ancient, Middle Eastern drink for if you got too high off hash. So you can just have like a sugary lemonade. You could take like some nerving herbs like passionflower or valerian or California poppy or something. If you do feel like you need something to calm down, you can definitely use other herbs. But as my friend Tony recently said, the best advice I've ever gotten from anyone is he was talking about how he was starting to get a little paranoid, and he's been smoking for about 50 years or so. And then he came to this epiphany that you can never be too high. And it really is about just breathing through it and realizing, like, this is cannabis. You can't be too high. There is no detrimental effect. You're not going to have to end up in the hospital, even though, maybe you have heart racing and, take a hot bath, take a cold shower, take whatever it is that's comfortable to you to calm down. But just remember, you can't actually get too high.
What does too high mean? You can't get what? To where you can hurt yourself? To where
Yeah,
it can
I
be...
mean, maybe you don't need to be driving a car because
Right.
you're distracted by your anxiety because you feel like you're too high. But just meaning that, like, physiologically, it's not going to kill you. You may have moments of discomfort, but then you can just use that as a learning opportunity to what can I do when I am feeling uncomfortable to bring myself back to a centered space.
Can CBD counteract?
CBD can counteract, and that's why you do have CBD in cannabis, right? Because there's THC and CBD, and they are the regulatory components of one another. But I don't know if you're super high on weed and then you go and take a CBD extract. I haven't heard of anyone coming down from that.